All right, we ready to get this thing going? Good afternoon, Ludwigsburg. All right, so welcome to EclipseCon and OSGI Community Event 2018. Really glad to have everybody here. This is... Thank you. Donald, I know you're in there somewhere. I learned that from you. For those who don't remember or don't know, this is actually our 12th year in a row in Ludwigsburg. It's been a great run here. We really enjoyed it. We're coming back next year. But I have this little thing I like to do every time when we kick in this thing off, which is to sort of like talk to people about how many EclipseCons have they been to. So I'm not going to start at 12 because that'll take, but we'll start at 10. So if you've been at 10 or more EclipseCon Europes, please stand up. All right, now don't sit down. All right, so that's 10 or more. 9, please stand up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, now sit down. All right, now if this is your first EclipseCon, please stand up. And that's why I like to do this, is to everybody to whom this is your first EclipseCon, I just want to extend a really warm welcome. I think you're going to find that this event is one of the friendliest community events that you're ever going to experience. I think we take a lot of pride at the Eclipse Foundation and the Eclipse community of being welcoming, and we're really, really glad to have you here. We hope you enjoy it so much that you come again in the future. And so with that, so I have a few minutes of housekeeping notes to take care of, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the Eclipse Foundation. So the very first thing I want to do is to thank the program committee, and Torkild, the program chair in particular. But if the program committee, please stand up. You guys, everyone's going to get your exercise today. So the program committee this year has done a great job. I think we really pride ourselves on the talks and the technical content, and they really do put a lot of hours into making sure that this event is got great content for everybody. And the thing to keep in mind is, because of the way the calendar works, the time that they're doing this is right in the middle of the summer holiday season. So not only are they working a lot of extra hours in service of the community, but they're taking time away from their July and August summer vacation to do so. So thank you very much, everybody. Then we also had the program committee for the Quality Day and the IoT Day. So if you folks could please stand up and accept a round of applause as well, if you're here. Thank you very much. And I also, of course, want to thank our sponsors. So to be really clear, we literally could not have this event without the support of our sponsors. And so please take the time to visit their booths, have a chat, learn about what they're doing, why they're here, what they're doing with the technology from Eclipse, and what they're doing in support of the community. So there's the sponsors for the main event. There's also additional sponsorships that were in support of all the various theme days and sort of ancillary events that we had around EclipseCon. Again, thank you so much to all of the sponsors. We literally would not be here without you, and could we have a round of applause for them as well, please? Okay, so just a quick note. We have a pretty cool app for the event. So if you haven't already downloaded this from your favorite app store, please do so. This was actually put together by our friends at Eclipse Source using their is it Tabriz framework. So we really appreciate the support and thanks a lot. And you know, the application is really helpful for scheduling things and so on. So please make use of it. I'm not sure how many years in a row we've done this in conjunction with 5 years in a row in the conjunction with our friends from the OSGI community. So welcome everybody who's attending in support of the OSGI. So speakers, listen up. We are requesting, we demand that you show up in the find one of the folks in the orange t-shirts and get your laptop tested to make sure that that it works with our recording materials, because we want to actually have all of these events recorded. Of course, I'm a hypocrite because I didn't do it before I got up here for the keynote, but you know, do not be like Mike. So please test your equipment. That's in seminar room 1, so you can go and get it tested to make sure that it works with all of our recording equipment. So thank you, please do that. So what's happening today? Well, non-stop excitement, of course, including this scintillating keynote and the one following. But this evening at 5:35, there's the Stammtisch. For those who are not German, Stammtisch basically means drink beer until you've decided how to rule the world. I think that's right, eh? Right? And so I've literally been to Germany like way over 100 times. And here's the 2 sentences in German that really basically will get you by and will definitely help at the Stammtisch, right? Okay, repeat after me. Zwei großes Bier bitte. Huh? Right? Not bad, right? Okay, okay. All right, but once you've got that mastered, then the rest of the night, all you need to know is noch ein Bier bitte. Right? And then, right? Can I get a little affirmation from the Germans here? Okay, all right. Then after that, we're having the Kahoot game. So that's always a lot of fun. You can test your knowledge of Eclipse trivia. And then there's Birds of Feathers going on at 7:30 and 8:30. Then tomorrow we have the annual members meeting. So if you're a member of the Eclipse Foundation, please wake up early and join us. We're going to have coffee at 7:30, get started at 7:45. We have a lot of interesting news this year, particularly around because we're starting to get into the whole business of specs and bringing on Jakarta and so on. So there's going to be some changes to things like contributor agreements and so on that have been governing Eclipse for many, many years. So if you're working for a member company or in particular represent a member company here at the Eclipse Foundation, please join us and learn about what's going on. Then at 9 o'clock, the OSGI Awards. The IoT Playground is going from 12:30 to 8 o'clock. Really looking forward to seeing that. There's going to be lots of fun toys to play with. Then the exhibitors reception in the evening. Okay, so I know what foosball is. I'm not exactly sure what Tischfußball is, but so foosball is going to be out between 7 and 9. And then again, BOFs in the evening at 6:30 and 7:30. So that's going to be tomorrow. And just a quick reminder that the entire Eclipse community and all of our events has a code of conduct. And the really short version is be awesome. And that's pretty much all you have to do. If anything happens that you want to bring to our attention, find one of the people in the orange shirts. Or go to the registration desk and we'll help sort things out. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So please take the time to rate your sessions. So sign in and vote at EclipseCon.org for all the talks that you go to, so we can, give feedback to the speakers on how they did. At the end of the conference, we're also going to be emailing out a survey, and we would really appreciate it if you would take the time to give us feedback on the event. Anne doesn't get paid unless she hits her numbers, so, not true, but it's just going for the laugh. Okay, so that's it for all the administrative stuff. How am I doing for time here? Not bad. Eclipse Foundation State of the Union. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes sort of talking a little bit about what we're doing at the foundation, some of the new things that are going on. And one of the things to keep in mind as I'm going through this entire talk is that when I talk about Eclipse this or Eclipse that, or the Eclipse project X, Y, or Z, this is not about us or me. This is not about the Eclipse Foundation. This is about the Eclipse community and the Eclipse projects and what we're accomplishing together. So when I use the word Eclipse, I don't mean the staff, I don't mean the institution, I mean all of you in the room and the community that we're putting together here that is accomplishing so much together. And this past year has really been about building on the successes that we've put together in the last couple of years. When we were here last year and we were just at that point just talking about onboarding Jakarta and so on, there's at that time we didn't even call it Jakarta, EE for J and Java EE. So that's been a big part of what we've been doing this year, and I'll be talking about that in a second. But this really has been a year of growth for us in the Eclipse Foundation, the Eclipse community. And one of the major successes that we had this year was again shipping the IDE release train on time to the day. So the Photon release went out back in the last Wednesday of June, just like it has for, where's Danny? How many years in a row have we done this now? 14 years in a row? Something, yeah, so 13 years in a row, thank you. And so it's obviously a huge effort, and it's really funny. There are a couple of journalists that I have literally been telling this story to for 13 years in a row, right? Like, the same journalist, I'm thinking of a guy named John Waters, and every year he's just like, I can't believe you guys keep doing this, right? I mean, this is an open source community that pulls together, 246 committers, 620 contributors, 73 million lines of code, and we've shipped it on time to the day for 13 years in a row. Right? No matter what kind of organization you are, the maturity of process, the maturity of thought, that just says so much about what we in the Eclipse community can accomplish. And it's amazing that people still get fired up about this. Of course, all the good things must come to an end, and Photon is actually the last annual release train that we're doing like that. Because as of after that, we're now actually shipping release trains every quarter. So it's like, we did release trains every year for so long. We finally convinced Oracle and the Java team that they should start shipping release trains. So now they're shipping every 6 months, and we're like, yeah, if you can do every 6 months, we can do every 3 months. By the way, that's absolutely not how it happened, but it makes a great story, so feel free to use it. But no, so now we're going to be shipping the release train every quarter, and really what it's about is making sure that there's a mechanism by which we can get new innovations out to our users every 3 months, just by making sure that they get it faster all the time. And this is the year that we really got serious about repositioning the Eclipse Foundation. So you might notice that since the last time we were here in Ludwigsburg, we now actually have a new Eclipse Foundation logo. And so that's been a big part of sort of retelling the story of the Eclipse Foundation and really positioning the foundation itself as the platform for open innovation and collaboration. And I think that's a message that is really resonates with people. It helps that it's true. And there's so many cool things that are happening at Eclipse. And in terms of collaboration and innovation, and just example, yesterday there was the CDT summit, where there's 40 or 50 people in the room, and you sat down and you came up with a really interesting 5-year plan for what you're going to be doing with CDT moving forward. And that's a perfect example of collaboration leading to innovation. And I think that's a perfect example of what we strive to do here in the Eclipse community. And we actually went through this exercise to measure how big we are. It's like, and part of it is like we saw some stuff from Apache and Linux, and we're this big, and we got that many, and that many billions, and it's like just as an exercise. So how many lines of code do we actually have at the Eclipse Foundation? So they went through this exercise, and Benjamin Cabet did a lot of the work here, and others, and Tabung put the story together. But we, 162 million lines of code, and using some, and you can read in Tabung's blog post, a very conservative, how we went through this. It adds up to $8.7 billion of value that we are delivering to the world, whether you're as an individual trying things out or one of the largest corporations that are trying to build products. Whoever wants to make use of that value can do so. And I think that's an incredible contribution to society and to the larger open source ecosystem. And we do this through our working groups in a lot of cases, particularly a lot of the new stuff. And in the last year, we've created 3 new working groups. Of course, Jakarta, which is getting a lot of press because that's where all of Java EE is moving to. But then there's also two in the broader automotive space. So what Open Mobility is focused on is doing sort of very fine-grained simulation for traffic scenarios in urban settings. And so in Toronto, near where I live, they're using it to simulate traffic for a new downtown area that they're building out with that Google's subsidiary called Sidewalk Labs is designing in Toronto. And Open Genesis is kind of really cool. It's coming primarily from an organization here in Germany called TÜV Süd that does a lot of the regulatory work around automotive safety. And what they're looking at is, okay, if we're going to have artificial intelligence driving our cars, how can we certify that that's safe? So a lot of the work in there isn't even necessarily software. It's doing things like, how do you verify that the data sets that you're feeding your artificial intelligence autonomous how do we know that data is safe and is traceable back to real world scenarios? So some really interesting new things happening in Eclipse in areas like that. And you can see this in terms of the project proposals per quarter. I mean, you can definitely see that recently we've had a huge amount of growth in the number of projects at the Eclipse Foundation. And one of the things I want to point out is that like those three big bars at the right, the first of the 3, which was actually Q4 2017, that was before Jakarta started. So that was basically sort of organic growth in Eclipse projects, totally unrelated to Jakarta. So what we're seeing is basically an unprecedented growth in the amount of new projects that are coming to our community. Of course, bringing on Jakarta and moving all of Java EE from Oracle and Glassfish into Eclipse Glassfish and the Eclipse Foundation has been an enormous undertaking. I was just reading some, I think the code base is 5.5 million lines of source code, and that excludes comments. And the TCK was another 4 million lines of code, again, also excluding comments. So this is like an enormous ton of code that's coming to Eclipse. It represents basically like a 15% increase in everything that we're doing at Eclipse. Another thing that we've just recently got engaged with as a community is working with IBM for Call for Code, which is really about building a community around building out code solutions for disaster relief and recovery. So this is just purely an exercise in inspiring developers to do good with what they, with what they do every day. So if you're interested in learning more, by all means, drop by and the website and feel free to propose some ideas of things that we can do within the Eclipse community in support of this great initiative. So looking ahead at some things that are coming up for next. So as we look towards 2019, for us on the staff side of the Eclipse Foundation, what we're really seeing is these are the 4 areas that we're going to be focusing on. So the first one is cloud native Java. Of course, Jakarta and MicroProfile are huge parts of that. Vertex has been around for a number of years as a reactive programming framework that's based on the JVM and of course OpenJ9 as well. Then on Eclipse IoT, we really honestly believe that Eclipse IoT is the center of gravity for open source in IoT. You know, we're 36 projects, I think, now, and I think something like 2.9 million lines of source code. I mean, it is a very large and very thriving community. Again, you had the Eclipse IoT Day yesterday and the Smart Home Day on Sunday. It's a really great community and a lot of cool things are happening. Then in automotive, you know, the way we look at automotive is it's not so much about, it's necessarily the software that's running in the car and whether it's in the ECUs or the IVIs, the dashboard. It's really about building out the technologies that's surrounding the car. So the cloud infrastructure for connected car, as I mentioned before with OpenGenesis, it's about also looking at how we're going to make sure that these autonomous driving systems are safe. So we have a lot of different things, different threads that are happening in automotive at the Eclipse Foundation. And then finally, our roots and our story started in tools, and it's still extremely important to us in the community. So the Eclipse Desktop IDE is still a very, very large presence in Java and C++ and PHP. Like there's still a ton of developers out there, literally millions of developers that use Eclipse every day. We have some really interesting modeling tools, as everybody is aware, with the modeling community, and we have stories like Capella around building out systems engineering platforms on top of Eclipse. And then finally, some new and really exciting and very different IDE platforms in their own right, like Che and Thea, that are building out the future of development tools. I really honestly believe, and so we have this joke inside the Eclipse Foundation, that as soon as Mike is absolutely certain about something, it's guaranteed to be wrong, right? And I can remember saying, yeah, you're never going to put IDEs in browsers. That's a completely stupid idea. Of course, then I think about 3 weeks later, the Eclipse Orion project showed up, and we've had a lot of investment in that area since. And I've come to sort of full circle, and now I completely believe that the desktop IDE, in a lot of ways, is almost certain to be disrupted, just like everything else on the desktop, by cloud-based tools. I think that's going to happen. Oh, sorry. One other, and then the Eclipse Foundation is this platform that all of these rest on, and that's so the folks that I work with. This is the basic services that we provide to the projects and the communities and our members in support of making all of this happen. So at Eclipse, Jakarta EE, MicroProfile, and Vertex, as I mentioned, are really, OpenJ9, of course, as well. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff happening at the Eclipse Foundation. And just the other day, we got a new project that I wanted to mention in passing as another example of some cool and innovative new technology that's coming to Eclipse. So I highly encourage you to go read this proposal. I think it's pretty cool and exciting. Eclipse X2, which is designed to be the Java app server for the cloud, with portability across Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. And it's based on the Java EE web platform. Of course, pretty soon we'll have to get them to change that to the Jakarta EE web profile. But there's a whole bunch of really interesting technology there, and we're very happy that they came to the Eclipse Foundation. And so why did they come to Eclipse? Well, the reasons that they cite, and I think they're great reasons, is they build on a lot of Eclipse technology. So they started on Eclipse Jetty. They use PAHO for their MQTT, and they used MQTT extensively inside there. The fact that Jakarta EE was already Eclipse was definitely a big part of their thought process. And by the way, I keep saying they, I should mention that the company that's proposing this project is called CloudReach. And CloudReach actually is one of I think actually not one of, is the largest cloud service provider in terms of helping companies onboard their IT infrastructure onto public cloud. They're actually Amazon's, AWS's largest partner in this space. So when they, they deeply understand this space because this is what they do for a living. And then finally, they look to Eclipse as as the leading community to do Java technology. And so that was a final part of the puzzle that motivated them to bring this to Eclipse. So I think this is just another example of really exciting cloud-native Java that's coming to the Eclipse Foundation. I've already mentioned IoT, but just in passing again, 37 projects. I think I said 36 earlier. I can't keep up, sorry. Actually, sorry, this is already wrong, because just an hour ago, Wayne posted 2 more projects, so now we're at 39. So it's a large and thriving community, and there's a lot of great stuff that's happening there, and thank you, Benjamin, for being the program manager and kicking the thing along for the 5 years. Automotive working groups, so as I mentioned, there's the 2 new ones. OpenMDM and OpenPass have been around for a while, and OpenMDM, as I understand it from Angelica, is just in the cusp of shipping their first significant release, so congratulations on that important milestone. And then just to call out to, since Wayne updated the page an hour before I got up here, and it's just not a talk that I do if I'm not adding slides 15 minutes before I stand on stage. So some new project proposals. So great names, huh? UPM and MRAA. MRA, is that they actually say it? They actually say MRA, okay. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get used to that. Eclipse MRA, I don't, it doesn't, it's not working for me, I'm sorry. Anyways, so these are 2 projects from Intel, and they're really about building a platform and ecosystem for low-level hardware drivers for enabling rapid integration of different hardware components possible from a software perspective. Actually, it should say Eclipse IOTA Trinity. So anybody who's been sort of following the distributed ledger / blockchain world, particularly in the IoT context, may have heard of this organization that's based here in Germany called the Eleclipse Foundation. And basically what they're working on is technology which is distributed ledger technology that came at it from a specific interest in enabling it for IoT. So things like very low memory requirements, very low power consumption, these kinds of things were definitely part of the requirements that they were thinking about when they were building out the system. And so they've previously mentioned this, and now it's starting to happen, that the IOTA Foundation is planning on bringing all of this technology as part of the Eclipse community. We're obviously super excited about that, to have technology in that area. For those, actually, do me a favor, put up your hand if you are a committer on an Eclipse project. Cool, welcome, thank you. Hey, we're gonna make the Eclipse development process a little bit better this year. So we're working hard to, the main design or user requirement is around making it easier to do release reviews, and in particular, make it easier for projects that are constantly releasing, because we're seeing that pattern more and more. So if you're interested in this, please grab Wayne or a member of the Architecture Council and talk to them about that. I'm going to talk more about this in the members meeting tomorrow, but as part of bringing Jakarta to the Eclipse Foundation, we're replacing the JCP, the Java Community Process, for all of what used to be known as Java EE. So we're going to get into the business of writing specifications. Turns out that's a lot easier to say than it is to do. It's like a million little details and a huge pile of work. So we have a community draft of our spec process now published So if you're interested in learning more about how we're going to be doing specs at Eclipse, please jump in and engage there. This is not just about Jakarta. We already know that there's at least one project in IoT that's already called Sparkplug or Eclipse Tahoe that's already said that they want to start doing this as well. So this is not just about Jakarta. The Eclipse Foundation is going to be working on specs moving forward. And then research projects. So we have this whole wonderful community of research projects, primarily led by Philippe Krief, who's on our staff. These are EU-funded programs, and they really add value and help recruit new projects and new technologies to our Eclipse community. Getting close to the end here. So one thing I want to call out for moving forward is we want to do a better job of marketing and explaining your successes within Eclipse. So we've just recently done this Bosch case study, which is a great read about why a company as old and as large as Bosch is engaging in open source. And then an Eclipse microprofile ebook that the microprofile group has been working on has it been published? Or is it about to be published? November 5th. But here, we want to do video interviews with people about their successes with Eclipse. So if you are interested in telling your story, please grab at Stephanie J. Swart and let her know that you're interested, and it'll be a quick video chat and something that we'll publish later in terms of telling the world about the success that you're having with the Eclipse community and the technologies here. And then I think this is the last thing. So we are doing a brand perception survey about how people, when you say the word Eclipse or the phrase Eclipse Foundation, what does that mean to you? We did this a couple of years ago, and it's time to do it again. So please take the survey, and there's a chance that you could win a €100 gift card. I guess we're only planning on Europeans taking our survey or something. Hey, just so you know, that's big bucks if you're Canadian. Just. All right, so thank you for that. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mandy Whaley, who's going to be our first keynote, and we're really excited to have her. She's the Director of Developer Advocacy at Cisco DevNet, and leads the developer experience team there. So we're very happy to welcome Mandy, or Amanda. Apparently she answers to both. With that, so please welcome her to the stage.
Thank you.